Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to Dr. Azmahani. My name is Siti Nurhalila binti Slamat and I'm from BA 2505B, and today I will do an individual presentation regarding the halal industry. Presentation, I will be talking about first the issue related with halal within a company. Second, who were affected by the issue. The third one is the potential or opportunities for the company related to halal. And the last one is some recommendations to the company or authorities related with halal industry. So, firstly is the introduction. For the introduction part, I will be talking about halal in general. Firstly, what is halal actually? The word halal literally means permissible in Islam, which is you are allowed to do it or consume it. Halal is something that every Muslim is allowed to do, whether it is food or something that involves physical interaction. As we all know, the Muslims cannot simply consume any food or drinks unless it is allowed in Islam, or in other words, unless the food and drinks are considered halal. Next, in Malaysia, who manage the halal certificates and standards? There is one only organization that involved in issuing and managing the halal certification in Malaysia, which is JAKIM, or the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia. For halal certification, JAKIM have to ascertain the halal status of the products at every stage and the process involved in the production. It is purposely to examine how the halal status of raw materials is maintained and monitored at all times. JAKIM also produce and create many guidelines that firms have to comply in order to get their halal certificates. Other than that, in Indonesia, they also have their own halal organization which call the MUI, or the Indonesian Council of Ulama, Majlis Ugama Indonesia. And the last one, does halal certificates and organizations only exist in Islamic countries? The answer is no. This is because some countries like Korea and Taiwan also have their own halal association. For example, in Korea, it is called KOHAS, or the Korea Halal Association. The halal organization in Korea, which is a non-profit organization, and it was established for the development of the Korean halal industry. The company that I will be talking about in this presentation is T-Life, where it was created in February 17, 2017 by Brian Lu. And since then, T-Life has grown rapidly and became one of the biggest bubble tea brand in Southeast Asia. Since T-Life's main market is Malaysia, there have been several rumors regarding T-Life halal status. In Malaysia, the Muslim population is about 61% from all the 37 million people of Malaysian citizens. Thus, that is why the Muslim community is considered as T-Life's biggest consumer in Malaysia. In 2019, the rumors about T-Life products containing alcohol and porcine have caused quite a scene among Malaysians. JAKIM quickly telling the news that T-Life has already been certified halal. And as a consumer ourselves, we can check the halal certification status of T-Life on JAKIM's website. T-Life has been able to require halal certificates for all its franchises around Malaysia and Indonesia. Next, I will be talking about the issue faced by T-Life related to halal. In Malaysia, there are no law or regulations that require any business entities to get halal certificates. But once the business get their halal certificates, the companies are subjected to the law, which means that any violation regarding the halal certificates will be imposed as a criminal act. As a big company with dozens of chains all around Malaysia and also overseas, one of the main problems for Tea Life is to make sure that their supply chains are also halal certified or their productions are following halal certificate guidelines and requirements by JAKIM. Even though Tea Life have been certified halal since it is now operates in multiple countries and has hundreds of franchises, the suppliers for Tea Life are not only from Malaysia but also from overseas such as from Taiwan and Vietnam. For example, one of Tea Life's main ingredients is tapioca pearls or the boba, and most of tapioca pearls suppliers are from overseas such as Philippines, Taiwan and Vietnam, and none of the countries is Islamic country or have majority Muslim populations. However, since Tea Life's ingredients have been certified halal, that means the tapioca pearls used in Tea Life are halal despite being produced by non-Muslim producers. When talking about halal supply chain, all parties that involve in the supply chain must comply with the regulations and standards of halal that was created by JAKIM. As you can see in the diagram of halal supply chain ecosystem, every level of the supply chain starting from the manufacturer until warehousing, transportation, retailing must be halal compliance. This is also called the supply chain management, where in the halal food industry, it means managing the halal food products from different levels of suppliers to different level of buyers or consumers while maintaining the halal status. All parties in the supply chain must take individual or joint responsibilities to protect the halal food products from being cross-contaminated or whether intentionally or unintentionally. When there is an issue arise, there will be a party that affected by the issue, and in this case, the most likely to be affected is the company itself, which is Tea Life. If one of the suppliers of Tea Life violate the halal guideline and regulations, it will also ruin Tea Life's image. In other words, it will give bad impressions to the company, especially those who in food and beverages sector, as halal status has always been associated with food and beverage products. When the company has a negative image among its consumers, the company will be likely to lose its consumers, and this will lead to a loss in profits and negative growth for the company. Now, we will be talking about the opportunities of Tea Life Company in the halal industry. Nowadays, as we know, around the world, the demand for halal products are increasing, not only among the Muslim but also the non-Muslim consumers. Other than that, the Muslim population globally and their rising income accompanied by their awareness of halal product is one of the reasons why the demand for halal products has increased dramatically for the past few years. Other than that, if you see the figure, the global Muslim population is expected to grow by about 35% over the next 20 years. rising from 1.6 billion in 2010 to 2.2 billion by 2030, or about 26.4% of the world's total population. Plus, Jakim Halal certificates is approved in 42 countries, and T-Life have a huge opportunities to expand globally and attract more Muslim consumers worldwide, since T-Life has already acquired halal certificates from Jakim. There are several ways to address the issue of halal status in Malaysia. This involves several important parties. Among them are the Malaysian government, the non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and business involved in obtaining the halal certificates. So, my recommendation is the government have to enforce stricter law and regular monitoring. Government bodies like JAKIM and HDC should play an important role by enforcing stricter laws and guidelines to make sure that the certificates they produce are reliable. Other than that, regular monitoring and checkups on companies' manufacturing plants or supply chains are needed to make sure that the halal guidelines are well followed and being implemented properly in every level of the supply chains. Nowadays, not only Muslim consumers that care about halal status on products, but the non-Muslims also consider halal status on certain brands or products when purchasing, as halal is not solely about using the permissible ingredients, but also the procedures and processes in producing the goods. Brands and products that have halal certificates have to go through another guideline and evaluation standard made by JAKIM, for example, and the process to get certified is time-consuming and quite costly. So that is why many non-Muslim consumers consider halal brands or halal foods have more quality than non-halal certified goods. Other than that, the increase in demand for halal food has opened a door of opportunity for a company like Loop Holding, which is the company of T-Life, to expand its market globally. Even though every country has its own halal standard, which is a little bit different from one another, however, at the end of the day, the objective is still the same, which is to provide halal products for the consumers or citizens of the country. As a conclusion, there is a long way to improve the halal industries, but the most important thing is all the organizations, government bodies, and companies are helping each other and contributing to improve the system and the standard, and hopefully in the next few years there will be a significant improve in the industry. I think that is all from me. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation and have a nice day, madam. Assalamualaikum.